Hello, you adorable angels. My name is Ricky, and I'm going to teach you how to play the world's most self-righteous card game, the Holiest Crap. This game is for 3 to 5 players, and it takes 30 to 60 minutes to play from start to finish. If this is your very first time playing, it might be more helpful to plan on 90 minutes after watching this video. To make your life easier, this video is divided into chapters, which means you can open the video progress bar and quickly jump to any section of the rules you want to visit. First, I'll take 90 seconds to explain the game in a nutshell. The rules of this game are easiest to remember if you think of it like real life. Each player has a unique soul which represents who you truly are, but you don't want people to see the real you, so you build a wall to hide behind, don't you? In this game, your wall is built with vices. It might not look great, but at least no one can see the real you when they're distracted by your big wall of crap. Even better, if you perform a good deed for everyone to see, that buys you a virtue card. Then you can put that virtue on top of your vice, such as your bull crap, and now you look holy instead of crappy. If you cover your vices with enough virtue, you can use good deeds to flush that crap away like it never happened. That earns you points because you successfully did something crappy and no one found out about it. Congratulations, you righteous little turd. But be careful because everyone else is trying to look holier than you, and that is completely unacceptable. So you can attack their virtue and destroy it, or attack their virtue and claim it as your own. You can also attack their vices so the whole world knows about their crap. If you make them look bad, that makes you look good, right? So you get points for that too. Over time, survival becomes more challenging and everybody's walls naturally crumble, creating some incredible heavenly chaos. If your wall disappears before the game is over, and your enemy collects the letter C.R.A.P with their cards, they can crap on your soul for a lot of points, which is not fun for you. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the holiest crap. Alrighty now, time to slow down and explain the rules in detail. This will cover most of the important things, but if you have deeper questions about any rules, the printed rulebook will be your friend. The primary objective of the holiest crap is to get the most points. The secondary objective is to protect your soul. The cards worth points are vices, virtues, and souls, and the rarely used devil's advocate is worth negative points. The point values are listed in the top corners of each card. You mainly get points by flushing away your vices and virtues or by attacking the vices and virtues of enemy players. It's important to protect your soul because it's valuable, but it's also difficult to earn points without one. Yes, you can still win the game if you lose your soul, but I'll talk more about that in Chapter 6. The Holiest Crap has 2 main decks of cards. The Poop deck, which is made of all the cards with the brown back and that constipated face, and the Virtue deck, which is made of all the cards with the blue back and the halo. Both of these decks go in the middle of your table where the virtues go on one side of the Poop deck and the discard pile will be created on the other side of the Poop deck. Shuffle the Poop deck thoroughly and deal 8 cards to each player. Then put the rest of the Poop deck in the middle of the table, face down. This will be the pile you draw 3 cards from at the beginning of each turn. With the Virtue deck, it doesn't matter if it's face down or face up, and it doesn't matter if you shuffle it either. To get started, every player takes a soul card and an inherent vice card. Just like the virtues and most other card types in this game, all the adorable souls look different, but they function exactly the same. So just pick the soul you think is the cutest. Put your soul directly in front of you and put your inherent vice directly above it. Both face up so the point values are visible. The inherent vice above your soul is the first vice on your wall that protects your soul from getting destroyed. Anytime you earn points, put those points beneath your soul. This pile of points is called your flush pile, and those points will still be yours even if someone eventually takes your soul. You can also keep a basic rule card close by to remind you of the game's most important bits. Any extra souls, inherent vices, basic rule cards, and devil's advocate should be set aside because you might use them later. Before anyone draws cards from the Poop deck to take the first turn, each player has the option to take what is called a turn 0, which is like a wall building phase before the real gameplay starts. What this means is that you can expand your wall to be even bigger and provide more protection for your soul so that you're more prepared for the heavenly chaos. The way turn 0 works is simple. If you have vices in your starting hand, you can lay those on your wall like bricks and create up to 4 total stacks. No one can crap on your soul as long as you have at least 1 vice on your wall. If you have good deeds in your hand, those cards are green like money. You can buy 1 virtue with each good deed and then place those virtues on top of your vices to cover them up. I will share more details on vices and virtues in a bit. If you know you're the last person to take a turn, adding extra protection may be helpful for you because every other player has the chance to attack your wall and expose your soul before you take your first turn. So, choose a player who goes first, then after everyone has taken their turn 0 and built their wall, the first player can draw 3 cards and let the self-righteous battle begin. Here's what a basic turn looks like. At the beginning of every turn, draw 3 cards from the top of the poop deck. There is no limit to how many cards you can have in your hand or how many you can play on your turn. Feel free to play all your cards or feel free to do nothing. You decide. There are 3 main things you can do on your turn, which are A, building your wall with vices and virtues, B, earning points by flushing cards from your wall or by attacking cards on enemy walls, and C, playing action cards. You can do these 3 things in any order and as much as you'd like. Okay. Now it's time to explain in detail these 3 main things you can do during your turn, which also includes information about how specific cards function. If you want to see all the details in one place about how one specific card works, please look that up in your printed rulebook. You can build your wall in 2 different ways. One way is to lay down vices from your hand in one of your 4 empty slots, or on top of another vice with the same name. For example, a bullcrap can go in an empty slot, or on top of another bullcrap. I will discuss the specific function of stacking multiple vices on top of each other very soon. The other way to build your wall is through buying virtues from the virtue deck with good deeds. Discard 1 good deed to buy 1 virtue and then immediately put that virtue on top of a vice. There are 2 main ways to earn points. First, you can flush completed stacks by discarding 2 good deeds. You know a stack is complete by looking at the flush handles on the sides of each vice card. The flush handles on each vice have blue dots to indicate how many virtues must be stacked on top of it to make the stack complete and ready for flushing. The swirly symbol below the blue dots is a reminder that it's not worth any points until you flush the entire stack into your flush pile. For example, the bullcrap shows 2 blue dots below the point value, which means the bullcrap needs 2 virtues to be stacked on top of it before it's possible to flush it all away for points. These 2 blue dots also indicate the maximum amount of virtues that can be stacked on top of it, which means that a bullcrap can only handle 2 virtues. When you flush, place the entire stack, including the virtues, into your flush pile. The other main way of earning points is by attacking enemies. Attacking anything on an enemy wall requires 2 attack cards. There is a reminder on each card that it's only half of an attack. When you attack someone's wall, you are attacking the card that is on top of a stack. For example, if you attack a hippocrap with 3 virtues on top of it, then your attack is only able to take the virtue on the very top. You can only attack a vice if there are no virtues stacked on top of it. If the enemy can't defend your attack with a reaction deflect card, then you take the card. Deflect describes at the top of the card how it works. If you attack a virtue, you can immediately take those points by putting it in your flush pile, or take it and use it on your own wall. If you take a vice, you can also put it immediately in your flush pile for points, or put it in an empty slot on your wall for added protection. Alrighty, remember how I told you I'd talk about stacking the same vices on top of each other? Haha, here we go. It can be very rewarding, but it's also very risky. You can stack vices on top of each other if they have the same name and as long as there are no virtues already on top of it. This can be rewarding because no matter how many vices you stack on top of each other, the cost of flushing the stack is the same as if it's only 1 vice. For example, 1 bullcrap needs 2 virtues on top of it before you can flush it away. But how about a stack of 3 bullcraps on top of each other? Yes, even that big stack only needs 2 virtues to flush it away. It pays big points, but it can cost you big points too. Virtues get attacked 1 at a time, even if they are stacked on top of each other. But vices that are stacked on top of each other get attacked all at the same time. Wow. If someone attacks your stack of 3 bullcraps, guess what? They take all 3 bullcraps at once. It doesn't always pay to be a serial bullcrapper. The other main thing you'll do on your turn is use action cards. They all have unique abilities and explain how they work on the cards themselves. Let me tell you about the unique Crappens card. It's one of my favorites. It's absolutely useless, I'm not joking. Well, maybe a little. You can turn it into a powerful action if and only if you collect all 3 useless Crappens cards. If you are so unlucky that you collect all 3, then you can win. WYM, which means weaponize your misfortune. Because why would you be a poor little victim when you can be a rich little victim? During your turn, discard all 3 Crappens cards. When you do, every other player must do 3 beautiful things. 1. Choose 1 card from their hand to give you. 2. Donate 1 card with positive points from their flush pile to your flush pile. And 3. Say out loud, "I'm sorry your life is so hard." If they refuse to say this, they must repeat steps 1 and 2. That's brilliant. Time to tell you the other basics about your soul. 1. As long as you have a wall, no one can attack your soul. 2. If you have no soul, you can't build a wall, which means you can't use vices or buy any virtues. But please continue attacking and tormenting other players like an evil ghost with everything else you have. If your soul is saved when the game ends, you get 7 points for keeping it. But if someone successfully takes your soul with a crap attack, they get a whopping 15 points for it. What is a crap attack? Well, it's the only way to attack a soul. As long as you can spell C.R.A.P with the cards in your hand, you can crap on any exposed soul. When you do, discard all 4 cards that spell crap and put that enemy's soul in your flush pile for 15 points. The only way to get a soul back is to use Devil's Advocate, which is a card that is rarely used. If someone took your soul during the first half of the game, when it's your turn again, you can take the Devil's Advocate that was set aside and put it in your flush pile for -7 points. When you do, that buys you a new soul and an inherent vice for a second chance at life where you can still build a wall and flush points off of your wall. However, you can only use Devil's Advocate if you have not reshuffled the discard pile to trigger the apocalypse. The main apocalypse happens when the poop deck runs out and the discard pile needs to be reshuffled to create a new poop deck. Because all of the vices from the poop deck have been taken, and the new poop deck can no longer provide you those vices to protect your soul with, the world is basically ending. So adapt your strategy to stay alive. The other apocalypse happens when the virtue deck runs out. When the virtues are gone, they're gone. And cards like Good Deeds are only good for collecting letters C.R.A.P. After all, when the world is ending and everyone's fighting for survival, do you really think anyone's gonna care about your good deeds? Yeah, right. The game can end in 2 different ways. 1. When only 1 player's soul remains in play, the game is immediately over. Count your points. The other way for the game to end is when the poop deck runs out a second time. When it does run out, reshuffle the discard pile 1 last time just to make sure every player got an equal amount of turns to draw 3 cards. Then, after the last player finishes their turn, count your points. The player with the most points wins and is officially the holiest crap. Way to go, buddy. Thanks for playing the world's most self-righteous card game, and please remember, keep your crappy behavior in the card game and not in your real life. Stay holy, my friends.